Alright, let's do this then. Let's start. What if we try a horror story, a horror story thing? Like like a short story time. Like, I don't know, we can say, oh, it was like, let's say a long time ago, stating the fact that. Okay, let me try this again. We all like horror stories, but I don't really know what to say. It all started like 5 or 6 years ago. This one guy, he never seemed to get noticed by anyone. He would he would try to make friends, but it didn't really work. He was a very, 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 very stubborn guy. He barely passed his classes. He was really, really into knowing how the human body structure was and what was it and how the organisms worked. But he was too lazy to study it. So he eventually decided to leave and like never come back. But then he realized how much of a mistake that was because he had nowhere to go. So he eventually ran into this really old factory. It used to be a meat factory where chickens were grinded up and processed into chicken nuggets or something. Like chicken nuggets, or maybe just drumsticks. You know, the drumsticks that you sometimes get at the store, and you just like kind of like fry them. That's where the meat was processed. The place was boarded up. There only seemed to be windows on like the top part of the building. He was like, okay, I'm gonna live here now. And so he did. He moved in with nothing but the clothes he was currently wearing. He had nothing else. He had his phone, but since nobody was paying for it, it had no service, it had no coverage. He didn't take his charger with him either, so he couldn't charge it. So the phone eventually just died. So he didn't have communication basically there. So he decided to just work out of imagination, work with what he had, which was a bunch of dangerous, sharp objects that people would use to cut chickens open, to grind up chickens, to make chicken nuggets and stuff. So what he did was he found old bottles, old glass items, and he would break them and scatter them all over the bottom floors of the building. He would place them in really small contained rooms. He would place keys everywhere in the hopes that someone would eventually come and would, stumble upon the building and say, oh, this looks interesting to go into. And he would hope that someone would just go in there and just be stupid enough to go in, to run into the building, go in. And a few people eventually did. And that's where the whole story starts. When the first person goes into that building and realizes they cannot get out. An intercom comes in and it says, hello there. As you can see, you are trapped here. You can't do anything to get out. Or can you? Now we both know it was a really stupid decision of you to go in here in the first place. What kind of idiot would go into an abandoned building with signs that say keep out, or signs that say do not go in, this is prohibited? Or maybe you just want a little bit of Or maybe you're just bored and just want something to do. Well, now you're stuck here for who knows how long. Now, if you want to get out, if you really want to get out, I mean, you could stay. I could really use a friend here. If you really want to get out, you're going to have to do multiple things. Now, as you can see, you are on the second floor. The first floor is under the basement. It's underground. This building has been falling apart ever since, and the ground hasn't been very stable. So to get out, you're going to have to find some keys to go back to the exit, unlock the door, and then you can go. But first, you have to do some stuff for me. And the things I want you to do are, you need to go into each room and you need to find me some things. If you do that, and you find each key, then you're free to go. If you don't, then you're stuck with me for the rest of your life. And I'm pretty sure you do not want that. Nobody likes to stay here. Nobody ever has. Nobody has ever escaped. Good luck. Then the intercom shuts off and the guy is panicking. He's looking around for things that he can find so he can find his way out. The first room he finds is covered in, it's covered in glass. He's like, what the heck is this? He goes inside. The instructions that are given to him is that he cannot wear shoes. He has to take them off. So he painfully walks through the glass and he finds a key. He says, well, this key right here, there's a note on the floor that says, oh, this key right here, you're going to use to unlock another room that's going to be up ahead. He grabs the key, he sighs, he goes into the other room, and he sees something that kind of disturbs him to the certain point that he wants to throw up. He sees a mutilated body in the corner that has a head. It basically still has its torso, but it does not have any arms. It does not have any legs. And the arms and legs are just kind of hanging from a chain on top of below on the ceiling. They're kind of hanging from that chain on the ceiling. He kind of takes a deep breath and he goes over to where the person is. The instructions are, find the other key. It's in there somewhere. And there was also like a knife next to the next note that was next to the... You get the point. It was next to the person. It was next... Oh, you get the point already. So what he had to do was he had to find the key that they had placed inside the dead body, the mutilated body. And after many hours of searching and many hours of making a huge mess and many hours of regretting his life choices, he finally finds the key. Once he finds the key, he leaves the room very disgusted, very lightheaded. He just wants to get out. He's still trying his best to get out of the... I thought this wasn't recording. I had to make sure it was. He tries his best to get out of the room. And once he does, the intercom comes in again and says, good job, you have succeeded. Next thing you have to do is go down the hall, turn left, turn right, turn left again, try not to get confused, and get the last key. So he does what he's instructed, and once he gets there, he gets the last key. And he goes back to the exit, but something shocks him a little bit when he goes back to that exit. There's a note there that says, whoops, I said the exit. I didn't say which one, did I? Go back. Go back. You had to go to the last room, to the last floor. Go down the hall into the last floor. He goes into the last floor, and he sees a light under the door. And when he sees the light under the door, he's like, oh, I'm finally free. He starts sobbing. He's like, oh, this nightmare's finally over. I can go home. He takes a deep breath and he unlocks the door. But once he unlocks the door, the light fades out. The light fades. He looks around and just sees that it's just another empty room. He looks around. He closes and opens the door. But he just can't find his way out. The intercom comes in once more and says, "Oh, I'm sorry. But there's a problem here. Maybe you misheard wrong. I said you can try to get out. If you haven't noticed, you cannot. Have you noticed how the people that are the ones that have been wandering around mindlessly blank kinda did not attack you? Those are supposed to attack because they're dead. You, my friend, are dead. I am dead. It's been years since I've been here, and you cannot get out. You are stuck here for the rest of your life, just like me. You made a foolish choice to come here. What a sad little world we live in, that you didn't even notice when you died. You didn't even feel the pain of dying, or you probably did. You probably saw yourself in that room, right? That was you. You were staring at yourself. I wonder how come you wouldn't have noticed that you were staring at yourself the entire time. And the guy that was listening was just kind of broke down to his knees, sobbing, questioning how this happened. He asked why they were doing this. They asked, and they said it wasn't their fault. They've been stuck here for so long. The recordings are years old. It had nothing to do with the person that was there before. It was all his mistake. It had nothing to do with the owner of the factory. It was all them. And when he finally realized that all of this happened to him because of his stubbornness, he broke down. He once again broke down into tears, questioning why he did any of this, why this happened. He honestly didn't understand how or why. He just wanted to go home, but now he couldn't. So the next thing he did was he walked up the stairs, walked each floor up to the first floor, up all the way up to the last floor where the window was. The only window in the entire factory was upstairs, and that's where he decided to go. And when he got there, he found the owner of the factory dead on the floor with a note. And the note said, "Well, I may have done a few bad things, but at least nobody will have to deal with me anymore. If someone sees this, you're probably stuck here now, just like me. I apologize. I know I may have done some wrongs. I know I may have done some things I shouldn't have, just because I couldn't handle anything. And whoever's reading this, I would like you to if you could please continue what I've done. Because honestly, most people on this world just do not deserve to live. And it would be nice if you would continue what I've been doing for me." And that was the last thing that said on the note. So the guy, after reading the note, he shook his head. He knew he didn't have the guts to continue something like this. He knew he was dead. He couldn't do anything anyways. He literally just saw himself dead on the floor. He was probably hallucinating from those pills he took earlier before coming in the room. Or before coming in the factory in general, he had taken pills. And that he remembered he had taken a few pills before going in. And well, that's the end of that story. I just needed to record something. I didn't know what else to record. But yeah, that's the end of that. I've actually did have a more full story on that, but the story, I don't know where it went, or else I would have read it directly from there. But yeah. I think I'll end the video right here. I'll probably try to do some scary stories or play more Tetris. I don't know. You guys tell me in the comments what you want. Tell me how your day has been. Make sure to subscribe or like the video or dislike the video. Do whatever you want. I honestly do not care what you do. I just want somebody to watch the video. And goodbye.